All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And yes, as the title suggests, there could be a Robin coming to the Matt Reeves universe of Batman. So let's take a look at a bunch of the photos I have received and been collecting over the last couple of days. We'll jump right into it here today. So here's the first photo I grabbed. I thought this was interesting because Jancarlos Esposito is an incredible actor. First seen in Breaking Bad, he gave an incredible performance in that show. It's still my favorite program of all time, and I love to see him in everything that he does. And so he said he has talked to James Gunn about the possibility of being in a DC movie. Now, I'm hoping they don't bring him in as something like Lex Luthor or something like that, because if you're going to have a young Superman, Luthor can't be as old as Esposito is, but it will be interesting to see. I could see him as maybe a Brainiac-type character. That would be if I had to choose a role for him in the DCU, I would choose him for Brainiac. I think he's got the right kind of acting chops and the ability to pull that character off like nobody else. But we will see what James Gunn has planned for him in the future if the DCU ever gets off the ground. So here's the next photo, and man alive, this is true. And with as much as this movie has been pushed off, and I am talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, they have yet to show a trailer, and this has never happened before. It says the trailer for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has not been released yet. With 113 days left until the movie debuts on the big screen, Aquaman 2 has set the DCEU record for the shortest window between the release of the film's first trailer and its theatrical release date. Now, there could be lots of reasons for this. I just don't think that Warner Brothers has the money to pump into this film to promote it, and they're not going to promote it. Yes, they will eventually release a trailer. With only 113 days left, I don't even know when they're going to release this. Like, it should have come out this weekend with the release of something like The Equalizer 3. But I don't know what they're waiting for. They don't have any money. And, if this strike continues, they may not be able to promote this film at all. And they may just let it go off into the dead of night. I just don't see that they're going to do anything with this film. And James Wan has already shown his dissatisfaction with the way that Warner Brothers has been dealing with his film. Now, I laughed when I saw this. It says, James Gunn confirms the new DC Universe's chronological timeline so far. According to James Gunn, all that is said at the moment is the animated series Creature Commandos comes before Superman Legacy. The DC Studios creative chief explains those two projects are the only ones with finished scripts due to the WGA strike. Now, is he telling the truth here? Because according to James Gunn, according to his own words, right days before the strike hit, he turned in his first script to Superman Legacy. Not anything with any rewrites. No script ever goes to production with its first draft. So either he's lying here, or Creature Commandos is the only thing, and he's just kind of throwing Superman Legacy into that mix, because that script is not finished. Either his previous comments are yet another lie by James Gunn. Don't know which is true. We need more clarification on this. And there's more to do with James Gunn and him being, he talks about some interesting stuff. I hope if I didn't grab the photo for the story that I'm going to be talking about with James Gunn, I will talk about it at the end of the video. But it has to do with the keepers of the overall timeline of the DC Universe. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. So I thought this was cool. Man of Steel is still the most watched Superman movie ever. And there's a reason for that. It was very popular, and it's gotten more popular over time. One of the things I forgot to mention in my video from yesterday where I was talking about the death of the movie universe for DC, one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that, these movies have gotten better with time, and Superman, when Henry Cavill announced his return as Superman back late last year, there was a lot of buzz surrounding it. More buzz than anything that Gunn has talked about since he became the CEO. So, co-CEO. I want to get that straight, that Peter Safran is somewhere there in the shadows and has yet to rear his head in this whole debacle. But it seems like they've left James Gunn to be out there to be the patsy for everything that's going down. But this film has received a lot of buzz, and man, when they announced he was back, the internet was on fire. So they made an announcement about this just before this weekend hit, that that the Blue Beetle film was cut by over 500,000 U.S. theaters this weekend, that they've just decided not to show it after 2 weekends in the theater. And it said, someone had posted, the Batfleck movie posted, this wouldn't happen to Zack Snyder's Justice League if it was released in theaters. Just saying, release the Snyder Cut in theaters. But yes, 500 U.S. theaters are letting go of the Blue Beetle. Now, I don't think that Zack Snyder's Justice League would do nearly as well as people think it would, simply because people have already seen it on HBO Max. A lot of people bought it, and the general audience wouldn't have any idea what it was if they didn't maybe release the Man of Steel first as a re-release for the 10-year anniversary, put out, David Ayer's Suicide Squad in there, re-release these movies, Batman vs. Superman, the Ultimate Edition, give the average moviegoer another chance at these films. So this is to back up that last post. Hundreds of movie theaters in the U.S. have officially made the decision to remove DC's Blue Beetle due to poor sales. It is the worst performing DC film, I think, ever, if I'm not mistaken. And this film really wasn't that bad. If you guys have seen my review, it's just sad that it got caught up in all of the garbage that's going on with the DC universe. Like I said, my last video said it all. The film division is dead unless they continue with standalone stories and stay dark, or continue with what they'd already started. But nobody is asking for a reboot except for a very small segment of the population. Now, here's something interesting as well. Ben Affleck refused to accept $873 million Zack Snyder's movie was that the money that Zack Snyder's movie made was a failure. Slam fans having a problem with gritty, dark superhero films. And I believe this is due to Batman vs. Superman. A lot of people claimed it was a failure because it didn't break $1 billion, yet it had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in it, which is a stupid equivalency, because there's still a good segment of society that does judge whether they go see a film on what critics have to say, which is a shame, because critics often don't agree with the public. But I know a bunch of people who will not go to the movies unless a film gets good reviews. And Batman vs. Superman was panned by critics. And yes, I will say that the theatrical version had major problems, but the Ultimate Edition was amazing. And it's still a shame that the studio decided to butcher the film. But on the other side of this, if you took that film and you adjusted it for inflation today, that movie made well over $1 billion. Because that movie was, I believe, 8 years ago. Yes, here is the photo I grabbed that was directly tied to the last James Gunn post I did a few minutes ago, that James Gunn has confirmed that he and other DC studio execs will be the new DCU's timeline keepers. If that's a position at Marvel, I do not know who that person is. So James Gunn said there was nobody over at Marvel that was in charge of the timeline. So he is going to be the ultimate, and David Zaslav said he is the the god of the DC universe, and it looks like that's what they're appointing him as. And again, I think that's a huge mistake, but that's what they've decided to do here with James Gunn. He and others will be keeping very good track of what is going on. Too bad they couldn't start out this way, but with somebody else other than Gunn, David Ayer and Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder and all those people, Christopher Nolan, David Goyer, they would have been better at taking care of the DC universe than this guy right here. So this is something interesting. I don't know what this is. It could be anybody's guess, but it says Bang Zoom Animation Studio teases a top-secret Snyder project. The Zack Snyder was in the house cooking up a top-secret project at Bang Zoom, and he left his mark with a selfie in our lobby. We are excited to share with you what's in store. Thanks, Zach, for visiting our studio. Look at that smile on his face. He thoroughly enjoyed his time there. That is a genuine smile. You could tell when somebody is faking it or it's a genuine smile, and that is definitely a genuine smile right there. Be interesting to see what they're going to come up with. All right, so here was the post that had to do directly with my thumbnail here. Robert Pattinson was talking about having Robin in the sequels, and this is what he had to say. He has to be 13. That's the only way I'll accept it. No, I love Death in the Family and stuff, but I think it'd be so cool. Also, people are so scared of it, but it's kind of exciting. I think it would be a really fun addition. And that's actually when I started reading Batman, was with A Death in the Family. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I was in a used bookstore with my family back in 1987. And I saw the first 2 issues to A Death in the Family were sitting there, and I decided to pick them up. And that's kind of what kicked off my comic book reading. Now, I'd had a few comic books in my childhood. I've actually shown a couple of those on my channel back from earlier than that. Those were gifts that I got for, Easter and some other things, but this is when I officially started collecting, and I've been reading everything since. And so that's kind of what kicked it off. I love the Death in the Family storyline. It was a great, great story. Now, this was posted on a Facebook post, and I want to clarify what this means. It says, Batman the Animated Series is coming to Netflix on the 28th. Not here in the United States. It will remain on HBO Max. But this shows you that they are making money by licensing these properties out to other platforms so that they can make money. This is going to happen in the UK and a couple of other places across the United States, but it is not here in the U.S. So I wanted to make that very clear for anybody who saw this. Now, I thought this was pretty freaking awesome. So somebody asked David Ayer, if you were given a chance to make Constantine and Keanu is really interested in replaying the role, which we know he already is, there's a movie coming, would you consider it? David Ayer said, absolutely. People, make this happen. I want to see that film. So there are all of the photos that I've grabbed since my last update. The truth of the matter is that Warner Brothers is still on fire. The ship is sinking. And James Gunn is not going to be able to steer the ship or keep it from sinking. It is the Titanic at this stage. And I do believe that a sale will be happening next year. I do believe this. I do not know if it's true, but that's what I believe is going to happen. The state of the DC Universe, the state of Warner Brothers, I do believe all of this stuff is going to be sold off here in the next year or so. It could absolutely be up for sale in 2024. And if you noticed, since David Zaslav took over, there hasn't been anything new. And they had, I think, a 2-year time period or a year and a half before they could sell anything, or it was 2 years. I can't remember what it is. So in the 3rd or 4th quarter of next year, we could see a sale happening with a lot of this stuff, and nothing will have been released by then. So there is a good chance that nothing that has been planned by James Gunn will ever see the light of day. All right, so there is my update for the day. I do appreciate the support. We will see you guys on the next video.